What's up, folks? This your boy DT 2.0, and I'm back here with another review as promised. Not the one I wanted, because the one I wanted is not in stock, and I'm talking about the Razer Blade Pro 17. But while I'm filling that gap, I was able to get my hands on the ASUS ROG Zephyrus G14. And here it is. This computer, and I'm talking last year, was a top contender for one of the best gaming laptops out there. Not just because of the performance of the Ryzen chip along with the 2060 Max Q, what I add, but also because of the size and the price. I was impressed with a lot of things about that laptop last year, as it was one of the ones that I wholeheartedly recommended for portability, to size, to performance ratio, along with that good price that it had. Especially now that last year's is on sale for roughly about $11.50 now at various times at Best Buy. That's pretty much the only place I shop anyway. Can this one top the one from last year? Man, let's find out. Now, first things first, I know a lot of people would retort to me saying that this was one of the top laptops from last year because it couldn't push AAA games like, say, my M15 with the 2070 Super or anything above that in that arena. Now, in that arena, speaking of, it can't compete. But why I kept coming back to this computer is because of the design and portability of it, along with the decent, not top performance, because it wasn't made to be a high performance machine. But at the same time, it did compete with the top of contenders because AMD with the Ryzen chip was making a name for itself. This thing could hold its own with some of the greats, and this time we have a bit of an upgrade. But before we do all of that, let's do a spec rundown. Now, this little monster sports the ever-growing popular, and it started getting popular last year, AMD Ryzen 9 chip, with this time the 5000 series. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD. It also has a rare 14-inch display that's 1080p with an upgraded 144 hertz. Upgraded from 120 hertz from last year. Drawback here, the response time, and we'll talk about that. Keyboard is lighted, but it's only white, not RGB. They had to cut some corners somewhere. As a matter of fact, there are no RGB elements on this laptop at all, exactly like last year. It's also very low key, which is a benefit for those that want to use this for more than just gaming. If you close this thing up like so, it basically looks like a book or a cheap ass HP computer. And if you got an HP computer out there, my bad, I'm sorry, not sorry. It is what it is. Moving on, this has the NVIDIA RTX 3060 chip, and it is the Max Q variant. So I kind of complained about Max Q last year, but I'm kind of this year, with the performance of that computer last year and the performance of this one this year, I'm willing to give it some kudos, right? You know how I felt about it. Basically, it's an underpowered graphics card, just to save some power. But since in this case it was paired with an updated AMD Ryzen 9 chip, which last year was eating Intel's lunch when it came to overall performance. Even Intel's 11th gen processor, I heard, has not been performing as great as it should have. So yeah, we don't know about that. And I know you guys been hitting me up. I know the Alienware has been coming out or about to come out on April 20th with the Ryzen version of the M15. Yes, I'm all over that shit. Anyway, let's talk about what we have here. Now, looking at it, it is a 14-inch computer. On the left side, you have a mic headphone combo jack, USB-C, HDMI port, and that power jack, which I'll talk about later. And then you got a vent here. Nothing but vents on the ass end, right? And there's a difference here, and we'll talk about this. No, fuck it, let's talk about it now, right? I think last year this plate right here was straight silver, but now if you look at the light hits it, it's kind of colorful. And also the badge right here, the tasteful badge, says Republic of Gamers established 2006. If you can see that, camera's good enough. It kind of has a rainbow glow to it, and also it's also under this white, but you got to hit it at the right angles to see it, right? I can't even see it right now, so I know damn well that you can't see it, but I caught it by mistake one day as I was turning the computer. Anyway, over to the right side, we have your Kensington lock, another vent, 2 USB-A ports, and another USB-C port. Obviously, since it's the AMD chip, there is no Thunderbolt, and I'm willing to live with that. Let's open this up. Two things that you didn't see on here, right? One, no Ethernet port, and two, no camera at the top. No camera at the top. We'll talk about that later. I bought this thing from Best Buy. It was $14.99.99 from before taxes, and depending on what state you are, you know your taxes are going to bring it to maybe almost $1,600, depending on where you live. If it's California, it's probably about $2,000. I'm playing. Moving on, y'all know the routine. This is a consumer review. So if you're looking for an in-depth technical review, it ain't happening here. I'm just giving you the perspective or opinion from the consumer, myself, who may or may not be experienced with dealing with computers. When all you want to know is, hey, when I get this motherfucker home, is it going to work like it's supposed to? With that, I'll give you my loves, my likes, my dislikes, my concerns, and then my recommendation. And I do have some performance in here. Overall, is it a keeper or is it going back? Let's get into it. Love number one, the build quality. I love the way this thing feels. It's solid, it's metal, almost no flex. The design is thin and extremely compact for what it can do. It's easy to whip this thing out and cause problems for people. Just like when I whip out my joystick, I say joystick, I'm old school as a motherfucker, and start whipping on you when I'm playing games. I could toss this thing in a bag and not worry about taking up too much space or being heavy. ASUS did a really good job in copying last year's design, which is great if you ask me. And don't be alarmed, all of these companies are doing it this year, right? All they're doing is just change it. Most of them are not even changing the processors. At least this one, they actually changed the processor, or not even making major changes in the processor. But most of them are just slapping the new 3000 series chips in it and then pushing them out. And people are buying them because a lot of them are sold out. Anyway, I love the way the vents are positioned and how the slots are tasteful with design. The only drawback to the build, and it's because, and this is because it's so thin, is they didn't include the Ethernet port, which I mentioned earlier. But this computer is small and portable, and I'll make that exception. 99.9% of the time anyway, my internet speed is fast enough, or I'm patient enough to not need an Ethernet port anyway. I'm loving the silver with the white top, right? And it's kind of different than that Alienware where this feels just I don't know. To me, it's a little bit more, it feels a little bit more durable, I guess. But it definitely does not show any fingerprints, where on the Alienware, as soon as you touch it, it'll show fingerprints. You can't really see them until you put it in the light like this, right? On the Alienware. On this one, nah, no fingerprints. You will have to really have some dirty ass hands to put fingerprints on this thing. I'm loving the silver with the white, like I said before. And actually, if you ask me, this thing could actually pass for a baby Alienware, as it looks like a spaceship. Look at the vents on the side, and the ass end in the back looks like, well, exhaust tips, like real exhaust tips, you know? So I love it. I love the way it's designed. You know, the only thing they're just missing, if they'd have put that ROG back here big as fuck, hey, look, put an alien head here as a damn Alienware. Anyway, I also love the way they made the hinge. You know, they made it when the display is fully open, it lifts the computer to allow more air in. Like so. To flow underneath this thing to keep it cooler than what it already is. And I love that part of the design. There is a branding badge like I showed you on the back, and I like the way it's not overpowering or forced. They did change the color a little of it, just like I mentioned earlier. Right, it looks like it's reflecting, you know, some rainbow colors, but at the same time, it looks mainly pinkish or burgundy. Could they have put the original ROG design right here or right here? Yeah, but it'd have been tacky, and this thing would have no longer been low key. But I think the decision not to do that was tasteful. And last but not least, what I like about the design is the lapability. Is that a word? Anyway, this thing sits in your lap like a tablet. It sits in my lap like my iPad Pro. No BS. Like my iPad Pro. right? Not, you know, you can put it in your lap, whip it open, start typing some things. It's not going to get too hot. You'll be able to get some work in it. And I'll talk about the battery later. The battery will last long. So it won't be all heavy in your lap like the M17 or even the M15 like a damn overweight stripper. I probably shouldn't have said that. Moving on. Display. Yes, it's a 1080p and only 144 hertz. Or you can even say only 1080p, because a lot of these computer manufacturers are now making, you know, QHD computers with laptops with high frame rates. A lot of them are moving to that, and I expect that ASUS with the Zephyrus came out with one last year, but now they're more mainstream. So I think they're catching up. So anyway, the increase is from 120 to 144 hertz this year, but that's at 14 inches that we have here. 14 inches, which in my opinion is a tad more crisp than 15.6 or even a 17-inch display when we have it at 1080p because of the obvious increase in pixel density. Now, it's not the brightest display out there, but unless you're dealing with an OLED or the M17's 4K display that's like 500 nits, this is very much on par with the rest of the market. It's buttery smooth and again crisp, so gaming on this thing is a great experience. Viewing angles is right on par with the other displays of this type, and from what I can see, the backlight bleed is very, very minimal, but you know that's from unit to unit. So my unit has had a great amount of backlight bleed, or not backlight bleed, backlight bleed. I don't know what it is about this screen, right? I don't know what it is about this screen, but it just doesn't seem like a 1080p display. Now, and I'm saying that in a good way, right? I'm saying it because it does look crisp. Like when I'm looking at this Republic of Gamers right here, it looks, I mean, it looks like it could be a 4K display, right? Or at least a QHD display. It's very, very crisp. You can see small lettering on here. I mean, you know, I had to actually recheck the box to make sure that this is not actually a QHD version. Now, I want to get my hands on one now of a QHD display at 14 inches because I want to see the damn difference. You know, it is 100% sRGB, so no Adobe RGB or no 100% Adobe RGB or even DCI P3. So content creators, you may want to take that into consideration if you're serious about your color gamut, or you could just get an external display. But overall, I'm loving the display, and I think by now I should have showed you some gameplay on how it looks. But this thing could get crisp, and it's smooth, and I love the way it looks. I don't know, right? I don't know. Now, it looks a little dim right now, and that's because I don't have it plugged in. And plus, obviously, if I had it at its brightest, you probably wouldn't be able to see it in the camera. But you know, I love the way the screen looks. I mean, geez, like I said, it's something about this screen that doesn't make it seem like it's 1080p, and I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna figure that shit out. Next, love, fingerprint reader. It's rare that gaming computers that has any Windows Hello features, but here we have one. The fingerprint reader makes it a lot easier and faster to log in, and plus it's more secure than having just a pen where somebody can watch you use it and get into your system, and way more secure. Well, not way more secure, but more secure than when using a camera, where somebody could actually make an infrared image of your face and get inside your shit. It was just as easy to set up as on a cell phone, and 90% of the time I can instantly log in without it asking me to try again, even though earlier it did ask me to try again, but that's because I was working behind the camera. The thing I love about this is the way they implemented the fingerprint reader is that it caches your fingerprint when you first turn it on. So the computer, when I hit the power button to turn this thing on, right, and I let it go and it starts starting up, it already has my fingerprint. So when it finally starts up, boom, I'm inside the computer. And I'll probably record that so you can see it. Great job on ASUS's part, right? And also just included in general, where some of these companies just didn't. They just said, fuck it, you know. And I'm not calling y'all out, MSI and Razer, you know. I'm not calling anybody out, Dell, HP. They just need to get it together. Next, love, and I normally talk shit about this, is the battery life, right? I normally talk shit about not caring about battery life in almost all my other gaming computer videos or gaming laptop videos. But in this case, I have to make an exception, as you can easily get 6 to 7 hours, not gaming, might I add, not gaming. So you can take this thing to school or to work, and the look of it is so low key that no one would even know that you're gaming, right, on this machine, unless they personally know what model you have. And I think a lot of people probably got this thing because last year's model sold like hotcakes, and this year's model, it was a while before I was able to get one, right? So, you know, only people that really knows gaming computers would even know you have one. So when you're sitting at your desk at school or whatever and you're typing, somebody will know and be giving you that wink and gun saying, I know what the fuck you're doing. You're probably not doing any work. But, you know, I love that aspect of this machine is the battery life. And add the battery life, to the design and the build quality, and you have one hell of a portable rig. One hell of a portable rig. Nice graphics card, or decent graphics card, decent setup, decent keyboard, which I'll talk about soon, great screen. Man. Next. And another thing that I talk shit about, that I say I don't care about, but I have to bring it up with this computer, is fan noise. The fan noise on this thing, as I compare it to other laptops, is very unintrusive. And what I mean by that is they're not going to interrupt your gaming experience at all. Compare this to any of the other laptops I've had, and this thing could very well rank as the quietest. Obviously, it's small and, you know, as compared to the other ones, underpowered, but it can still handle its own. And I don't have a meter or anything to test it, and I'm not going to, but trust me, you will not be disappointed with the fan noise of this, even though you're taking that hint from somebody who claims that they're damn near deaf. Fan noise. It's about as loud as it gets. It's not bad compared to my Alienware M15s. Now those are my loves, and now on to my likes. And here's my like number one, the keyboard. I actually love the keyboard feel. It reminds me of my Alienware, which just gave it a good run for its money, but still is second to the Alienware. Let's just get that out, right? Still doesn't compete with my M15 or M17, but it's close. Key travel is just where I like it. It has great feedback. I love the layout. Tab and shift keys are normal size, MSI. I love the way some of the shortcuts keys are completely separated from the rest instead of stuck under a function key. Now last year I beat this fucking keyboard to shreds because of the sad keyboard lighting, right? Because if you turn the key lighting on, even at max brightness, in the daytime it made it almost impossible to see what key you were pressing, right? This year they sort of fixed that, as long as you have it as either max brightness or off. But if it's on barely, and let's just try to do it right now, right? So it's off right now, so obviously you can see all the letters on the keys. But if I turn it on one level, they kind of sort of disappear, right? And right now I can unless I'm on top of the keyboard, I can barely see it. Now if I go to level 2, because there's 3 levels to it, I can sort of kind of see them. And this is probably the max brightness right here from last year. And then they added another level, boom. Now I can, I mean, they're not blaring at me because it is daytime and I do have the light, but I can actually see the keys, right? And I probably just fucked y'all up because you probably can't see them. But I can see them now clear as day. Where last year with this shit, right, I can barely see them. Barely. I'm fucking y'all up. Anyway, trackpad is smooth and responsive, feeling almost the same as the M15. And in fact, if you ask me, I kind of like this one better than the M15 because I don't know, it's just the smoothness. I rarely use them anyway. I use mouse anytime anyway. And I think when it comes to trackpads in general, MacBook has everybody beat. Right? You may not like it. I love them. But as far as Windows computers, I would say Razer comes in second. right? And I would rank this with the computers that I've reviewed as number 3. And then maybe the M15 R4, M15 R3, R4 line as number 4. You know, but overall, shortcut keys here, the key travel or the function of the keyboard, the lighting, the trackpad, and of course the power button. Again, MSI, separated from the keyboard. It actually feels different. And as a fingerprint reader, I'm digging this keyboard. That's why it's a like. Only reason it's not a love, they gave us an upgrade on the keyboard lighting, but not a full upgrade. Keep working on it, y'all. But you're doing good. Like number 2, and I mentioned this before when I was talking about the display, but I like that they went on ahead and put their step forward and added more hertz to the screen, right? 144 hertz instead of 120 hertz from last year. And right here it says Pantone Validated. So those content creators or those people that are into the Pantone colors, it's Pantone Validated. I had to do a little bit of research to find out what that actually meant. I thought it was some special shit, but in fact, they tripping right now. I'm gonna let that roll. But they kind of, I had to look it up, and I looked it up, and I found out it wasn't anything really special. So it is what it is. They added the extra 24 hertz, and I like that they added it and didn't go overboard with 240 or 300 with a laptop this size. It probably would have increased the cost anyway. Unless you're deep into competitive first-person shooters, esports gaming, you're not going to notice the difference between 120, 240, and 300, as they're all smooth as fuck. I believe they sold a lot of these last year, and they listened to the feedback. They made the keyboard lighting better, and they not only made the display better overall, but in my opinion. So if you ask me, ASUS has their ears open. So if you ever think a company is not listening to you, they're listening to you. They are, because they want to sell more. And in this market these days, especially with last year and some of this year, when everybody was stuck inside during COVID, which was the main reason I got into it, people were buying gaming laptops in general. So it's very competitive right now. And now you got some folks hooked like myself. Next is the Armory Crate. And I said this last year, and I explained it last year, so I won't go too in depth with it. Alienware has its command center. MSI has a control center. HP has a knockoff ass command center, and they actually call it that. And ASUS has Armory Crate. I rank this, out of all of these command centers, I rank this as number 2, only to Alienware's command center. And some people may hate Alienware's command center, but everybody's gonna hate or love what they like, or what they, just like keyboards. Everybody's gonna like a feel, just like shoes. Everybody's gonna like what they like, and think that everybody else should like what they like. Hey, people, like what you like, right? And don't worry about what other people recommend. It may be good for them, but not good for you. Anyway, I like this as number 2, and I would say, I would go even further than that, 1 and 1A, right? Because I like the way they have everything just on one page. All the information is contained right here in front of me. Even how loud it thinks the machine is if the fans are going, right? It has system acoustics right here that says 18.5 decibels. CPU and GPU fan right now is completely off, which I love that aspect about it, because guess what? Hey, it's saving power. CPU stats, usage, temps, voltage, GPU stats, frequency, usage, temperature, voltage. Right now it's in power saving mode. You have different modes. You have Windows mode, solid mode, performance mode. It's in performance mode right now, but it knows I'm not doing shit, so it's keeping the fans off in power saving. But also turbo mode and then manual is grayed out because I don't have it plugged in. Right here it has this nice graph that shows you, how it's performing as far as CPU cooling, noise reduction, energy saving, and GPU performance. So you just got to study that a little bit to understand. It took me a while to realize what it was trying to say. Right now, I'm even Steven across the board because it almost looks like a pentagon. Geometry. I'm getting it. Anyway, they do have a cell phone app that went with this, and I tried to use that shit, and it never connected. And I think at least in Apple's App Store, it has like 1.5 or 2 stars. with like 400 or 500 reviews. So if you're getting this computer because of that aspect of it, because you can control your computer with your cell phone, don't, because the shit don't work. At least on mine, right? It may work on yours. And I saw some reviews where they were actually able to hook it up, but are they telling the real story of how long it took them for them to connect? I just gave up after about 4 or 5 tries and restarting the computer and restarting my cell phone and deleting and reinstalling the app. I was like, it's not that important. If I'm playing why would I want to change the mode of my computer from my cell phone when I'm right in front of it and I can just hit the shortcut Armory Crate button and do it myself? Don't know. Anyway, Armory Crate, a definite like. Next like, and my final like, is the speakers. No, they're not no, I can't even say that. They're competing with the M15, believe it or not, right? But I think the M15 has the edge, and it's probably because of the size difference. But they do have just like last year, they do have a clean, sort of low end in there that I do like. But it's a nice, good, all-around, crisp sound quality that's easy on the ears. And I'm looking at you again, GE66, even with this year's version. You won't be disappointed with these speakers. As for the size, they are loud enough to actually drown out the fan noise, which is already low as fuck as it is. So that's a definite plus. They have speaker grills on the top, right? On each side of the keyboard, which, I just noticed has that same reflection. I don't know if you can see that. Has that same, oh yeah, you can see it. I can see it. Hopefully you can. Has that same reflection that it has in the back end, and then they have the speaker grills on the bottom right here, right? So let me open this back up, which I haven't seen. The speaker grills on the bottom, which I haven't seen on any laptop I reviewed, or I just missed it entirely. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I assume this aids in adding that bottom end, especially if it's bouncing off the table. Speakers up here, sounds going out, and when it goes off the table, it comes around. I think, but it makes it pleasant on the ears. Now, you won't be using these in lieu of separate speakers or headphones. But if you're listening to a podcast or in an online meeting that you're listening to, because ain't no damn camera, or even watching a YouTube video that you want somebody else to listen in on, these won't disappoint. It's way better than some of the laptops I've reviewed out there, way better. And if just real quick, I'll just let you hear this, and hopefully I don't get a copyright hit, but I just want you to hear the sound. I'll scroll out of this. And again, using my shortcut keys. Just fast forwarding through this to get some. I don't know if y'all heard that final piece at the end, but when it did the Ryzen hit on that piece, but it had like a little bass drop at the end before it went over. I actually felt the table move a little bit. Not move, but I actually felt the table vibrate a little bit. We'll use vibrate, right? Now, it didn't shake shit off the table. Let's just get that straight. But I did feel it because I had my hands on each side and I actually felt the table vibrate. So that just tells me that it must be those speakers at the bottom that has the low end. So definite like for the speakers, right? In a small package like this, I'm again, all over again, I'm falling in love with this machine. But there are some drawbacks. And that's it for my likes. Now on to my dislikes, or what I like to call my unfortunates. Dislike number 1, and it was obvious, and I said it before, right here, no damn camera. It looked like they had a space for it. There's 2 dots there, which is probably the mic. Why not slap a camera in there? I think they just alienated a good bit of folks who could have easily used this machine for dual purposes. Not saying that you can't, right? Could you buy an external camera? Yes. And could you buy one that'll actually be better than an integrated one? Yes. But damn, at least give me the option. Come on, bro. I don't need to look at, I don't need to look good on Google Meet or even Microsoft Teams. So I don't need a good quality camera, but at least have one so I won't have to lug around another camera. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's a lot of room in this machine for either one at the top or in this fat ass chin at the bottom that just has ROG Zephyrus down there to add one, even if it was a cheap 720p camera. You know, I would have complained if it was 720p, but at least it would have had one. I don't know what they have against cameras in general on their machine, because this is not the only machine that they didn't put a camera in, but clearly there's a bad relationship there, right? I think y'all, you know, ASUS and cameras, y'all need to call each other and make up. You know, need to seek counseling or something. Text or call, do something, and bring this thing or these things back into the 2000s camera-wise, right? I can see a shit ton of students using this thing because it's light, it's low-key, and would allow them to play some pretty good games efficiently. That would have been the perfect combination. If I was a young kid in school and I'm trying to egg my mama on to get me a computer, I would snag this one and they would look at it and say, well, it doesn't look like a gaming computer. Nice color, it's low key. Yes, Bobby, let's get this one. And all the while you getting your Birdman hands on saying, I can't wait to get Steam and put on this. I'm telling you, they alienate a lot of folks. So I hope they're listening, me and my 8 subscribers. Put a damn camera on y'all machine. Dislike number 2 is the power input location. And yes, at this point, I'm nitpicking. Right, ooh, got some crumbs on that. Look at that. But they put it on the side right here, and I don't like the fact that they put it there, right? And I actually hate where they put it there, right in the middle of the left side where there's minimal cable hiding. Now the cable does have a right angle, so it does come out and then go straight to the back, so that's a good thing. But you can still see the cable. Right, I think they should have put it right here, and I said this last year, but I think they did it. They were concerned more with the design than it is with the with actual placement of it. Right now, the thing that I'm concerned about most about this is when you have this thing running, and I've been running some AAA games on here. I've been playing Gears, and I've been playing Tomb Raider. I had Mortal Kombat, NBA 2K1. This thing, when it's blowing out, will gin up some heat and it will start blowing out air, hot air. And it will actually get that cable that's sitting right in front of this quite warm. And I don't know about you, I don't think that's a good idea to have my power cable that probably already has a lot of heat because it's drawing a lot of power, adding more heat to that part of the cable. I don't know. So I hope they're listening, because it seems, for me, being an electronics technician that I was a few years ago before I completely stopped doing it, I don't think that's a good idea, right? I don't think, but then again, they probably looking at the folks that buy this probably don't play those titles or don't try to push these machines, but they don't know who they fucking with these days. Anyway, I digress. And my last well, not really my last, because I got one additional, or dislike. What the fuck am I talking about? My last dislike, and again, I'm nitpicking because of the design. It's great. And they probably couldn't fit one on here, but Alienware did, is at the Ethernet port, right? Alienware put an expandable slot on theirs, and I think they could have fit one on here. I think this is chunky enough to put one on here, right? One of those expandable slots, because even though it's thin, right, they still have this little area right here, and on the Alienware, I think that, you know, it's expandable, so it stretches open. Right, and I think they could have did that with this one, you know. But again, I'm nitpicking at this point because overall, just like last year, this is a great piece right here. This is a great piece. And I'm not going to even stop the camera for this one, right? One more additional dislike that is killing me right now, right? And y'all going to trip because it's not actually a functionality of the machine, right? But fuck it, I'm gonna call this like I see it. And I actually hate this. You know, who the fuck is placing stickers on these machines? Look at this. Why is that? My OCD is like on 1 million right now, right? It's on 1 million. The $1,500 machine, man. What happened? Was it take your kid to school to work day and they allowed them to help? Look how crooked. Look how crooked they are. Look at that. My OCD, I said, is on 1 million right now, right? I know I can take them off, and I probably can move them around, clean off the residue, but it'll probably be even harder to put them back on and find the right glue and all of that, or to just shift them around. But geez Louise, right? Get the little things right, ASUS. Get the little things right. Don't make me open this thing up, and before I even turn it on, look at these stickers and be like, nah, this is gonna be a bad experience because they didn't look at the little things or pay attention to the little things, or what we say in the Navy or in the military in general, attention to detail. This is it. Attention to detail. Like they put this thing together and was like swag, swag, and moved it down the line. Anyway, that was all for my dislikes. So now on to some performance numbers before I kill it out. Not the machine, the review. Now for the performance part, I really didn't go really deep into it, but I did compare this machine to two other machines, right? The M15R3 and the M15R4. And I'm talking just plain numbers. I really didn't put them in the ring together because we know at the end of the day, it'll probably be a slaughter, right? Maybe not as much. But anyway, I ran the same 3 tests that I always run when I use 3D Mark, which is Port Royal, which is the ray tracing performance test, Time Spy, in Time Spy Extreme, but in this case, just a Time Spy test because the Time Spy Extreme tests at 4K, and this is not a 4K machine, and then the Time Spy stress test, okay? And let's just put up those numbers. During the Port Royal test, the G14 scored a 4503. Now, in comparison to the M15R3, which was a 5117, and the M15R4, which is a 6391, I think it held its own for what it's doing, or what it can do. I'm gonna close that shit out. When I ran a Time Spy test, and I'm comparing this machine to the Time Spy Extreme test that I did on the R3 and R4 because I'm testing them at their maximum resolution. The G14 scored a 3708 while the R3 scored a 3970 and the R4 scored a 5131. So it's competing in the ring. For the stress test, the G14 scored a 98.8, the highest out of the R3, the R4, and even the M17R4, right? 98.8. And again, those are 4K machines, so I get it. It's a lot more work, but they have the better graphics cards, right? And we know when we use 3D Mark, it tests both CPU and GPU when it runs that test. So that just tells you something. Now, the shocking part about this is the temperatures, right? The R3 obviously was tapping out from 90 to 100 degrees. The R4 kept it cool, right, at 70, 75 degrees, and surprisingly, the G14 was the same. CPU and GPU temperatures were running from 70 to 72 degrees for each. So this thing stayed relatively cool. Now, can it get hotter than this playing other games? Of course, yeah. Yes, it can get to up to 80 and 90 degrees when you push this thing. Ray tracing on, max resolution, everything on ultra. Yes, so don't get this machine thinking that because I ran one stress test and it was pretty much stable at 70 to 72 degrees. When you push it using another game, it's not going to do that. That ain't going to happen. It's going to get hot. All right, okay. Now, when I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I'm going to add some footage after this of other games I played, because I also played NBA 2K21, I played some GTA, some Mortal Kombat, and also, and like I just said, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, with ray tracing on ultra, and also graphics on ultra, 60 frames per second, stable 60 frames per second. Very rarely would it drop off of that. Now, when I turn ray tracing off, right, especially when you're running, if you ever played that game and you're running through the jungle with ray tracing, it's tough, right? Like my R3 struggles when I'm running through the jungle with those leaves and the light, the sunlight coming through the leaves and it's changing. It struggles. You normally have to turn ray tracing off if I'm playing at 4K or drop the resolution to get some great frame rates. With the M15R4, it was a lot better, right? I had a lot better performance where the frame rate was almost steady at 60. With this particular machine, when I turned ray tracing off and I went to that same spot, and I'm not running a bench test, I'm talking running through the jungle with all of those leaves and trees and lights, 83 frames per second average. Pretty good performance, and that is a AAA game. At least I think it is, right? So pretty good performance overall, and comparable performance overall with this machine. It's light and compact, right? And it still could perform in the arena with the big guns, just like last year. Just like last year. And just like last year, I was, the more I played with this thing, the more I was like, man, this is a good machine. Man, this is a good machine. So why can't I keep it? I want 2 computers, but I just can't, because I got to explain that shit to my old lady. Anyway, moving on to my concerns. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all, because I always am, and that's why I talk to y'all like we're just bullshitting in the office, because that's what I want to gear my channel towards, right? I added some graphical performance numbers in there just to satisfy some users, because overall, you want to find those things out, and I do too, right? I was just as interested in y'all. But at the end of the day, I like my channel to be like me and you bullshitting in the office, or out in the field, and we talking about gaming computers, and I'm telling you about what I bought. That's why I talk the way I talk, and that's why some folks like it, and then some folks don't, because it rubs them the wrong way. But I don't care anyway, because again, this is not my career. It is what it is. Anyway, overall, I'm not concerned with this machine, right? I could be of customer service, but each manufacturer is hit or miss from customer to customer, issue to issue. I've had nothing but good experiences with Dell, because those are the only folks that I've actually had to reach out and touch. But it was only because I wanted to return a computer that I'm just like the R4, which I brought back today. I messed up on an order, and they were real kind and nice. They offered me some money back, but I wanted to return it anyway because I couldn't deal with that damn 4-zone keyboard. But most of my concerns from previous reviews would come from build quality overall. But with the exception of these messed up ass stickers right here, the build quality of this thing is great. And the stickers have nothing to do with the build, right? This is just finishing touches. It's small, it feels solid, so I'm very confident in tossing this thing around and handling it like a book instead of like a sheet of glass, like that HP Omen my son had, who finally upgraded to the R11, Aurora R11, which I'm gonna do a review on that one. This machine just like last year's machine, could hold its own, right? The white top may get dirty, but it's easily cleaned. As y'all see earlier, I just scrubbed those crumbs away. I've gripped this thing in every way possible, as you can see, and I have yet to leave a fingerprint on it. It's easy. I can easily handle this thing, right? Some people may get nervous, but just look at this. Look, this, oh man, look, this easily handled, right? It feels like a big ass textbook or a Windows tablet because of the way it's shaped, I've heard last year that folks was getting dirt inside of these holes right here, but what the fuck are you eating, and why are you handling a white laptop, with some dirty ass hands? Wash your damn hands, especially with COVID around. Come on, folks. I don't know about them, but I don't have my laptop around much dust, with the exception of earlier, but that was a crumb because I was snacking earlier. But I heard some folks have that issue. If it's you, or if you have some concerns, I don't know how to get shit out of there, but it doesn't look that deep. It's like some holes are deep and some holes are not, but on a normal day, I don't have my hands full of Cheeto dust before I grab my machine. At the end of the day, just don't fucking do it. Don't do it at all. Anyway, so overall, no major concerns here with the G14. Now, this review has been going long enough, so let's just move on to my recommendation, because I know y'all want to just hear what I got to say about it. Recommendation, and I normally don't do this, but I did this one I did it for the one last year, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would I put the G14 2021 version? Last year, it was a 9. I put it at a 9. Easily a 9. This year, because they fixed the keyboard, and I'm discounting these stickers, right? I'm giving it a 9.5, right? Yes, it has lack of a camera and Ethernet, but that's completely forgivable for pure gamers out there, and that can be solved with external gear. I think the lane that ASUS wanted to be in with this is, hey, portable, on the go, whip this shit out, start gaming, close it up, and move on type of lane. And not in a lane with the M15 or the GE66 or even the GS66, because this is way smaller than that, right? This is a great performing machine. Even with that 3060 Max Q, which I knock with especially with Max Q, I knock all the time. But for this particular machine, it just works. I was able to play, which like I said, I'll put at the end, AAA games at max or near max settings with no problem. I have to give it to the combination of the 3060 and that new Ryzen 9 5000 chip. I see nothing but great things in the future for this line, and I know, and I said this last year, and this year's even worse, Intel got to be firing all kind of motherfuckers right now trying to get their shit together. I'm telling you, they cleaning out house and probably trying to probably trying to hire some folks from AMD to try to come over and try to sell them some secrets or something. I don't know about that, so don't if it actually happens, don't say I knew ahead of time, because I don't. That was just a wild guess or a joke. So I do highly recommend this machine. The price is right, as it didn't change from the full price, and the performance from the full price last year, and the performance is better. The speakers and keyboard are good. The build quality, I said, is top notch. And as I said it before, you will not be disappointed, especially in the display, which by all means, like I say, I mistook it for a QHD display. I'm being real, right? This could be rated as a near top tier machine, even though in price and spec as a mid-grade machine. This thing is like I said before, it's in a lane of its own. So for ASUS, hey man, it's working. It's just working. Yes, I love my Alienwares, right? But that's because they got that 4K OLED. It is what it is, and I love pushing those things to its limits. But I would definitely, if you have any questions, I would definitely have this as a secondary machine for on-the-go gaming if I had the damn money. Anyway, that's all I got. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments as usual. And once again, this is DT 2.0. Thanks for watching, people, and thanks for sticking with me. Peace.
There's a road.
Let's check it out. What's going on?
Shit, Trinity, get down.
Damn.
Truck's stuck.
I can see that. What are we doing about it?
Follow my lead.
How the hell am I supposed to know? What are you doing?
Get back. Hide.
You're the logistics guy, aren't you?
I'm not the one who go onto a body breach.
Oh, hold up. I got him. Hold on, the friendlies. Someone should check back there.
I'll do it.
Put it right there. Make sure nothing can get through. I want this whole area sealed off. Yes, sir. If there's anything here, we're gonna find it. When's the last time this thing was serviced? This is rusty. Don't get distracted, Mendez. What are we looking for here? Anything that moves. Anything that doesn't. They still didn't find that relic. I'd love to be the guy that does. Hey, why not? Be a hero. I'll be dead more likely. No thanks. I'll keep... It's quiet. What's your team doing?
I'll check.
We're not paying them to sightsee.
We'll have to go under.
Yeah.
We know there's a big temple. What we're looking for is any smaller rooms we might have missed before.
Okay.
It's really wet in there.
I'm afraid if we move it, we'll lose it.
We're gonna have to reinforce the bridge. Why didn't you test the bridge like I told you?
Oh, I'm pretty sure we did test the bridge first.
Fuck off. I'm not covering for you.
Maybe we can pull it out.
Okay, maybe. Let me think about that.
We can take them. You go left. I'll take these guys.
What in God?
And hide.
Dave, Sammy. Guys, I told them to test it.
And the Bulls start out with the ball. Look at Cleveland's starting group. Garland and Sexton man the backcourt. Allen is out there with Kevin Love. And it's Okoro in at the small forward. The feed to Rose. Outside Jordan. The three. That one's in. His first bucket of the game. He's 1 for 2.
No one's ever questioned his court vision. Rose playing unselfish basketball, being the leader this team needs him to be.
Allen passes to Love. Now, here's Garland. He's covered by Rose. The drive by Jordan. Fouled on the shot and picks up 2 points. So 1 free throw coming up.
Man, the body control and focus. I mean, Jordan able to draw the foul and still finish the basket.
He's getting his first free throw attempt of the game here. Free throw good, Jordan. And here's Sexton. Down low, here's Allen, and denied. He sends it right off the glass. Outside Rose. It's Jordan on the wing, defended by Sexton. It's been a slow start here for Cleveland. 6-point game. Got a piece of it. Here's Rose, and then jammed down. It goes right over Colin Sexton.
Well, Rose loves to get out into open space in transition, that extra space to work, lay it in.
Now, here's Garland. He's covered by Rose, and it's blocked by Jordan. Rodman passes to Pippen. And there's Michael Jordan, the assist by Pippen. Jordan's got 8 points.
And it just seems that every pass they make is leading to a score. Just great ball movement.
So timeout called here, the first for Cleveland.
Good timing. They're really struggling offensively.
Sometimes it just feels like misses become contagious. He wants to settle his guys.
conquer.